Hello and welcome, I'm Peasant, and today we're going to be doing another Principles playthrough with THUNDERSPEAKER. And what that means is that it's an attempt at a beginner-friendly playthrough, but mainly trying to bring it back to Principles as much as possible. Though I think some of the spirits, there's a bit of nitty-gritty to deal with. This might be one of them. So we've got an opening mountain to explore, and we'll just take a quick little look at what THUNDERSPEAKER's got going on. The key thing, there are a few key things. One of them is that your presence moves with your Dahan. So if you move Dahan and there's presence in with that Dahan, you can move it around. You also, if you lose Dahan in a Ravage from a Blight placement, with Blight placement, then you will actually lose presence as well, which is an absolute disaster. You don't want that. This is how you can just lose very quickly as THUNDERSPEAKER. We've got some opening cards. We basically start with a major power, unusual in that regard. This is a very powerful card. We start the game with it. We don't really, in theory, we don't even need other major powers. This is probably enough. So each Dahan deals damage equal to the number of your presence in target land. So you're gonna want to stack your Dahan, your presence on top of your Dahan, and then you've got a nice little mover. This is generally a bit overpriced, but it can still be. It's still good at 0. And you've got a slightly suboptimal defend card, apart from the elements are useful for you, for your innate. So you will probably be wanting to find better defend cards. But we won't be doing that for a while, so hold your horses on that one. And we do have Lead the Furious Assault. You'll probably trigger this bottom one with the town almost by accident, constantly. And then this one is actually very hard to trigger. Good luck with that one. And then the Gather the Warriors is super important because you are positioning your Dahan. So THUNDERSPEAKER is, for my money, the trickiest spirit for me to pilot. I think it's a combination of spatial puzzles and of placing Dahan in use. So, yeah, hopefully what I'll tell you is helpful. There are actually a few different approaches to how you start a THUNDERSPEAKER game. Some people go a little bit top track. I tend to really hammer the bottom track. I think that's actually a slightly more precarious way of going. But it's a somewhat more familiar one because we've got this growth option that lets us gain a chunk of energy. And the approach with the bottom track is getting to this reclaim 1 spot. These reclaim on any spirit that has one. These spots are just amazing because they can allow you to delay the reclaim, keep placing presence. So it's this is my most puzzling one. I thought, I'm feeling brave. I'll record the Principles THUNDERSPEAKER playthrough. I mean, the thing with THUNDERSPEAKER is that they are also incredibly powerful. They become a little bit less powerful with events. Events can really hurt THUNDERSPEAKER, but they're still very powerful. But yeah, bit of a brain burner for my tastes. Okay, so we've got a town builder in here, and we've got a town builder in here, and this is easily defendable with our defend card here. And there's already a Dahan in there, so that will counterattack, destroy that town. And you almost always are going to get a little bit of movement with THUNDERSPEAKER because all you need is one beast element, and you've got air on your card, so we could just bring another Dahan in there for a good counterattack to clear that land. That'd be pretty nice. So this land is the problem here, the problem land, but we could just demonstrate the frankly horrifying power of THUNDERSPEAKER. Can we do that? We could do that. Is it a good idea? Well, probably not. Because we can do this right out of the gate. There's actually a presence here already. If we were to go turn 1, gain a chunk of energy, manifest voice. Oh, we would only have 2 presence there. We wouldn't be able to clear this land completely. Okay, forget that. We're going to go with the principle of letting it all go. So I'm going to just let this land go. This is actually incredibly useful at 0 difficulty, possibly completely unnecessary. But once you start racking up the difficulty, no, there's no pressure to do that. You know, nothing good. No, you know, if you're trying to prove yourself by playing a solo game, I don't know what's wrong. It's beyond the scope of this video. But yeah. What are you on about? I don't know. It's the pressure. It's the THUNDERSPEAKER pressure. So they're going to build a town. It's going to be a 6 damage Ravage. We've got nothing in hand that's going to deal with that. We have at best a 3 defend card. We could, okay. So here's why this is a good principle. Because we could spend turn 1 bringing these Dahan in here and destroying a city and then defending, right? So we could spend the whole of this turn partially destroying the stuff that's in this land. And then we could spend turn 2 paying one of our probably 2 actions to defend in there. We'll have spent 3 actions, loads of energy. To do this, we need to go with only placing 1 presence instead of 2. We'll have spent a lot of effort just dealing with one thing, whereas we could be powering up as a spirit, right? So that is why it's good to just sometimes just go, you know what, coastal mountain, I'm sorry. Just going to have to let you go. So I think with that in mind, we're going to play into that principle and we're going to do other things on the board. So I think I'm still going to stick with my familiar territory with Thunderspeaker, which is I do generally play bottom track. We've actually got a good use for sudden ambush here, so we can gather a Dahan, each Dahan destroys Explorer. We can just prevent this build by destroying this Explorer. This is another really great thing to do on principle, because you know, if you prevent a build, then you don't have to worry about the Ravage most of the time. Adversaries will funk that up. They will get funky with that. But in the meantime, we can prevent that build by destroying that Explorer with this. Can we afford to do that? We'd actually have to go top track to afford that, or go with this. Blech. I don't like that. But I think actually bottom track is a bit funky. We will go top track, at least to this too, alright? Yeah, when you're making a video aimed at new players, just play a way that's completely unfamiliar so you can make a fool of yourself. A fool. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with using ambush in here. If we go top track, we can get to 2 energy. I'm probably going to go bottom track after that, because I'm just, you know, if I can go bottom track, I will. I love those plays. So that's going to be all our energy. All we're going to be able to play with it is Voice of Thunder, but we could use this to position our Dahan somewhere useful. And because we're going to have an animal element, we're going to get to use Gather the Warriors as well. So let's go with that. It's actually quite nice principles, because we're prioritizing our presence placement, which is, I think, just something you're going to want to do. Now, we are told to place presence in land with Dahan, so that's not optional. But it is what you want to do. You might get other opportunities to place presence. And the reason of that is because each of those is a multiplier for your manifest. So we could start thinking about our plans for manifest. We're preventing this build. If we could clear this town, we can clear the inland. We'll prevent this build, destroy this town. And you know what? Oh, we can't destroy the town this turn unless we deliberately get these elements. Well, we can, but I don't think it's worthwhile. So the other alternative is to use Words of Warning to just count to destroy this town next turn, because we're deliberately not doing anything about this. If we prevent this build, then we're kind of twiddling our thumbs with Words of Warning. We might end up playing it anyway just for the elements, because this will give us the sun. And if we play Manifest next turn, we will then have 2 sun, 1 fire, which will get us this ability to destroy a town. Okay, so I think that's going to be my plan. Prevent this build, move in here, destroy this town with Manifest. It's going to feel wasteful. Ooh, we could actually Manifest on the coast somewhere. And a lot of this is slow, so we don't have to firmly commit just now. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna make a sacred site down here, and I'm gonna make a sacred site up here. Because this, if I do end up using Manifest, that's 4 damage, which is much better than 3 damage. Okay, so we're gonna go sudden ambush, and what the hell? We've only got 1 play. This is how familiar I am with going top track. But that's fine. That's actually okay. That's acceptable. Yeah, played like 1,000 hours of Spirit Island. That's hard to believe. Okay, so we're going to use this in here. And we do have the option to gather in there. Do I want to do that? Do I? I don't think I want to do that. That's an optional one. Because I want to keep these together. And because we've actually got 2 gathers. So yeah, it doesn't make much odds, but I'm going to just leave it there for simplicity's sake. So we've destroyed that explorer. We've prevented that whole build ravage chain. They do build in here, but we've just given up on this. We've just letting this go for the sake of maybe clearing the inland. And this actually has worked out pretty well for us. Because this explorer is lucky, right? Because there aren't. If we go in here and destroy this land, then we've got a very good chance at clearing the inland, which means less explorers. Because remember, fewer explorers even. So the coast is always going to get explorers in the explore phase, but inland it depends on being adjacent buildings, right? So if we can clear this town, then if we get an explore, there's going to be a couple of lands that are just not going to get explored. That's worthwhile. So we've got this gather here because we've got 2 air. So gathering in there is bad. And remember, we have this sworn to victory thing. We really can't afford a dirty counter. And every other spirit, it's a resource in your toolkit. It's not something you're likely to want to use as Thunderspeaker. I mean, I guess maybe you might. So I think, yeah, this is lovely. What we can do here is we can gather in these separate Dahan here with our gather, because gather is a bit more flexible like that. And then next time we can go Voice of Thunder Manifest to destroy the city that's built here. So we'll be in the slow phase, so they'll build a city and then we'll just destroy it, because we'll have all these Dahan here waiting for them. Typically with Thunderspeaker, you're winning by just clearing the map. most of the time. Okay, so we're back to the growth phase. This land we're letting go. There's no ravage here because we cleared it. They're going to build a city here, but then we clear it. We've got a plan in mind already. We need 2 plays to do it. We also need 3 energy. So we're forced to do this, and I think clearing this is it's worthwhile. We know something about the explorers as well. We know that this is a sand or jungle. So unfortunately, they are still going to possibly squeak an explorer into here, but nothing's perfect. Destroying the city, of course, is fear. And although there's me saying that as this spirit, we're all about clearing all the invaders off the board, it is good to get a little bit of fear going as well. So I placed this presence in here because we want each of our fighting presence to have, fighting Dahan to have a presence with it for the sake of manifest, and because then they're flexible. Because remember, if we move Dahan, we also get to move our presence. So that's what we're looking like. And we've also got Lead the Furious Assault, which is mildly unfortunate because it's going to be completely surplus to our requirements. That's just how the cookie crumbles for me with this spirit. I think this spirit is quite possibly just the most powerful spirit in base for a lot of players. But for me, this spirit boggles my mind. Okay, so we got the Sand Explore. So if when we clear this land this turn, the next set of cards, jungles, will not be explored as long as I successfully do what I'd got planned there. So yeah, currently we're sitting on 2 damage with our manifest. So we need 6 to clear that. So yeah, we'll just do the job. We'll push these. And I think in general with the Dahan, with Thunderspeaker, you want to centralize your Dahan, a bit like chess. You want your pieces to be in a position where they can actually move somewhere. And we've got this nice clearance here. And we've got a bit of surplus to Lead the Furious Assault. Okay, we've got ourselves a fear card. So we'll just do this somewhere. Won't do anything. Okay. So we have a Ravage in here this turn. And you know me, I like to just let things go. And it's another situation where we can we can try really hard to solve it. Now, okay, ignore the fact we're about to gain some power cards. We might just draw a solution, all right, from these. But let's imagine I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to use Sudden Ambush to bring a Dahan in here, and then I'm going to use Words of Warning. That's 3 energy, 2 actions. We could just let it blight, you know, just let it blight. Just let it blight. Okay, so we are not going to be able to... The reason I typically like bottom track with this spirit, even if it's a bit funky, is getting this reclaim 1 means we can delay our reclaim, which is a good thing to do in general a lot of the time. But our reclaim does let us gain 2 power cards, which is pretty good. Very high odds of gaining something useful for us here. So I think, especially as using Words of Warning is on its own is not enough. Now, why would you possibly want to delay this? To get more presence out, so you've got more plays, you've got more energy potentially, you've got your reclaim 1, that kind of thing. But hopefully after this reclaim, if we do a double place and a single place, we should then be on this reclaim bit, and we'll be doing very nicely. So let's just reclaim, and there are major powers that are good for Thunderspeaker, but I think that's a late game luxury. You've already got this basic major power. You've already started with a major power that kind of works for you and has all your elements. So I think typically you want to be looking for cheap defend cards. Let's have a look. Let's see what we get. Okay, we've got the Thunderspeaker in a box card. Otherwise, people, you know, real people call it Call to Bloodshed. So what I'm kind of looking at here with this power choice, and I do have a little video on power choice ideas, is does something immediately help me? So we've got this Ravage here. It's a 3 damage Ravage. It would be nice to not have this Blight, but we've got no card that we gain here is going to solve that for us outside of very convoluted things. So, okay, with Visions of Fiery Doom, it does have this fast town push. We could use that in conjunction with Sudden Ambush to drag a Dahan in, push a town out. You know, that is something you could do, but it possibly is not worth the effort, because that's actually functionally very similar to using these cards we already have. Call to Bloodshed is just a bunch of extra damage, and it has good elements for us. These are ideal. Actually, I rate the animal element more strongly, because of your start cards, these 2 are cards that you're not... I mean, this is probably your weakest start card. So the fact it's got another animal means you're going to be triggering this super useful Gather the Warriors ability. And do we have an immediate use for Call to Bloodshed? We actually do, because on that coastal sands, they're going to build a town, and then we can use this to destroy it. So I think we just pick that. And not an overexplain peasant. We're not going to go into exhaustive detail on that power choice. Okay, we do get a second power gain. So yeah, we're probably still hoping for a minor power that will help us solve this problem. Let's see what we get. Okay, Drift Down into Slumber. Okay, Sap the Strength of Multitudes is wonderful. It's actually, I'd say, one of the best cards you can have as Thunderspeaker. Not that I'm a Thunderspeaker expert. So it's a defend card, right? Why do we love defend cards as Thunderspeaker? Because we can always be moving our Dahan around, and Dahan damage is so cheap compared to just paying for it yourself. You let the Dahan do the work. This is also a good card, but this is only really super useful in jungles and sands. The fact it's 0 range doesn't matter for us, because we move our presence around all the time fairly easily, and we're typically going to be defending in with Dahan anyway, so this is just all around very good. The 0 cost is very, very relevant for us, because we have an expensive card we're going to be repeatedly playing, and our energy track is not amazing. So yeah, this is actually a pretty good card. I love these 0 cost move cards. This is actually very good. The fact that this solves this immediate problem for us makes it the preference. And again, it has the animal that we like. So we're going to take that. So we have just the 2 plays. We're going to have a slightly off-brand turn, but I think keeping the island healthy is worthwhile. And the beast does mean we do get a little bit of Gather the Warriors. We've already got an heir of our track, so we do get to do a little bit of Dahan movement. We've got... we could just use the 2 cards we drafted this turn, right? But again, the more you plan, the more successful you'll be. Super cool guy on Board Game Geek, Aaron Stevens. He does written playthroughs. And I think he confided. We didn't confide, it was no great secret, but he'll leave the position set up for a while. And it's a surprising how many possibilities there are in a situation. Surprising, I'll tell you. So we've got an air and a sunlight. So we get to do a gather push, which is kind of, you know, we can move a Dahan a long way. Wow. But this turn, at least, we have placed a presence. We probably really should be thinking about next turn, though. Really. Okay, we've got a gather push. So what we can do is we can bring a Dahan into here for a defend next turn with words of warning when this has built and then is ravaging next turn. That's okay. Keeps the island, you know, will clear a town. What would be really nice, it would be nice to have a counterattack in this land. We can make it happen with sudden ambush. So, you know, I was saying all that stuff about, you know, you don't want to waste all your turns doing something like this. Well, it would destroy a town, right? Yeah, I don't like it. This is too expensive. Sudden ambush is just too expensive for what it does. I think we just defend and we destroy this town. Then that means we don't have to worry about this land. And you'll notice you will have the situation where there's a lone explorer fighting some Dahan, which in base game, nothing's going to change that. It's just safe. You can just leave it there and you'll clear up your lone explorers. So I think this is all right. There probably is. So there is a reason to mention the take your time anecdote. There probably is a way of beating, I mean, I'm sure there is a way of beating a no adversary, zero difficulty run with THUNDERSPEAKER in a very small amount of moves if you puzzle it out. I'm not doing that. In each land, defend one per Dahan. Okay, thanks, Sphere card. So that's defended. 3 damage, 5 defend. They build in here, but that's fine. We'll deal with them later. And we have, what do we have? Jungle. So okay, we got the little thing there. We just had no explore. So that's a land we don't care about. Okay, now actually, just because this was the plan doesn't mean we have to stick with it. Because this actually, we could just words of warning in here next turn. And because there are 2 Dahan in there, that actually clear it completely, which is quite nice. It's quite nice. Now, we've not uncovered this reclaim 1 spot, which is a shame. I think next turn I'm really going to prioritize placing a load of presents so we can get to this reclaim 1 spot soon. And there's part of me that just wants to blitz this city. But no, I think I'm going to go with I think I'm going to stick with the original plan. So we do a damage for each Dahan, and we'll clear the town. Most of the time you want to always clear the building if you can, because that extra fear is important. Okay, so we've got a gather push, so we can take a Dahan. Not quite anywhere actually. Not quite anywhere. So we definitely wanted a Dahan in here next turn. We'll take from this 4 stack. Rather than taking one of these, because this at least is 4 damage if we use it with Manifest, which is, you know, it's a decent amount of damage. So I'm going to bring this one in here. Do I want to bring a presence? I actually don't think I do. And possibly a slightly over-leveled tip is that when you're playing solo, I think with THUNDERSPEAKER, having 2 stacks of 3 works quite well. Okay, so here we are. Ravage here, so we just need to defend with words of warning. That'll kill the town. The nice thing then is that there'll be no buildings in any of the... Oh no, there will be a build here. We could prevent it with sudden ambush. Don't actually like that much. But the great thing about doing that is that then there'll be no towns in any of these lands. Which means that if this is a mountain explore, there'll be no explore. In this mountain. There'll still be an explorer in this mountain. I feel like I'm possibly being... I need to be a bit more on the warpath. I'm not manifesting very much. But yeah, we're going to words of warning. Hey, we can get up to 3 actions this turn. So maybe... And we'd have 6 energy. So we could go words, voice manifest. We could go on the proper warpath. And we could afford to place a load of presents. Okay. So one thing we could do is we could actually, once we get to 3 plays, we're going to probably be triggering this 2 sun, 1 fire ability, kind of accidentally. And here in this jungle, they're going to build a town. So if we just push a couple of Dahan in there, we could destroy that town with a combination of Gather the Warriors and Lead the Furious Assault. And then maybe bring this big army in to do more damage. I like that. So where do we place our presence with Dahan? So in with this Dahan is good. And then we're going to have an extra Dahan lying around. Sorry, an extra presence, because we've got... This will be our 7th presence on the board. So we only get to move 1 presence for each Dahan. Oh, that's ally of Dahan. So this last presence is kind of going to get left where it is. But if that coincides with a battleground for Manifest, I mean, possibly I'm overthinking this. But basically, I'm just going to put this in a place where I don't mind if it gets stuck there. I think this is actually a useful place for it to be. Doesn't matter. I think I'm overthinking it. Yeah, let's save those thought save the brain circuitry a little bit. Okay, here's an interesting thing to sometimes bear in mind, is that just because you can play lots of cards doesn't mean it's right to. So I'm going to just quickly check that this makes sense. Why is that? Because again, it's about delaying the reclaim, getting more presence down. So in this case, if I play 3 cards, then next turn I'm only going to have 1 card. This is going to be a bit of a bad turn. If I push to reclaim 1, I could get one of these cards back. But it might be the case that if I save one of these cards to play next turn, it's going to be more effective. Let's actually just work it out. So words of warning in here. This is definitely worthwhile, especially now we've put Dahan in there. We don't want Sworn to Victory to come and eat our presence. We really don't want that. Okay, we have Gather the Warriors, which is going to gather 4. Oh wow, I've kind of accidentally made these powers fast. This is often desirable, but it's often not what you really want. Because you might want to be waiting for them to build something before you destroy it. Okay, that's interesting, right? Because the fact that those are fast did not calculate for that at all. But we could use that to push a Dahan into here and then kill this town in the fast phase. What does that actually mean for us? What does it mean? What does it mean? I think what it means is that actually, in this case, words of warning just solves that anyway. I don't think there's much benefit to saying that up. If we already had a second Dahan in there, sure. But we don't. So yeah, we don't care about that 4th heir, and we do care about our next turn. We are going to get to reuse one of our cards, and we should be able to afford anything because we could just use this gain 4 energy place presence option. So the question is, yeah, we've got 3 sun, so we only need 2 sun to get this ability. So I think what do I save for next turn? Maybe we save voice. Except we don't have anything useful to voice, so that would be pointless. We can get voice back next turn. Yeah, so we can have a really nice big turn with ambush, manifest, voice. Because, let's think about next turn. There's no build here this turn. We're going to... Oh, I've got rid of my fire. Damn it. Okay, never mind. Yeah, manifest does nothing without voice. Without manifest, we don't have the fire we need to destroy this with gather and lead the furious assault. Okay, fine. Fine. There's our defend. It does have this damage being simultaneous. This sometimes is relevant. Occasionally. Okay, so we actually don't want this to be in the fast phase because these Dahan that I'm proposing to drag over here, they're going to be doing something in the Ravage, and the town they're going to destroy has not been built yet, so we will keep these in the slow phase. So that Explorer cleared themselves, they did damage that Dahan, but that's fine. Now we've got this here, we counter destroy the town, get ourselves a fear. And we have jungle build. It's fine. Enjoy yourself with that, invaders. And a wetland explorer. Intriguing. Okay. So again, just because this is what we thought we'd do last turn doesn't mean it's the right thing to do now. You could do a very wasteful way to prevent that build chain. I actually don't think that's worthwhile. We could maybe tidy it up with sudden ambush next turn. Maybe. But I don't really like the turn that's sudden ambush and one other card. So we might well be reclaiming. I think it's just fine. It's fine. We have 4 gather, 3 push. What's interesting about that is it means we could maybe take this 3 that's over here and actually put the couple we want in here and 1 in here to set up for a big manifest where we clear this land. We've not really done a big manifest yet. These Dahan are kind of wasted here. So we could gather all 3 of these into here and then push 1 into here. But yeah, I want the... Yeah, let's clear this coastal city. The benefit of that, killing cities, remember, is 2 fear instead of 1 for a town. And there aren't many buildings on the board. You know? There just aren't that many buildings. Yeah, I think that's the plan. So we can... And the great thing about having... So we'll leave... do we leave this one where it is? No. We take it along for the ride. And we're going to bring all the presents with us, I think. So remember how I was agonizing about the presents that was going to be left behind? Well, there it is. And now we want 2 in here for our Lead the Furious Assault. And then we want 1 in here. And it's gonna bring a presence with it, which is going to be a multiplier for our manifest. It's going to be an unnecessary multiplier. But it is also, it's going to mean that that presence is kind of where we want it. I've been looking forward to getting these Dahan out of this corner for a while to somewhere where they're going to be a bit more flexible. So we will push them in here. And now we bring these 2 presents with us. So now we've got 3 3s. We've got 9 damage, which is more than we need. But you can never have too much damage. Gee, you probably can. There are, especially once you get into the expansions, all these exceptions start popping up. All right. Okay, so here we are. We've got no ravage, 1 damage ravage, doesn't matter in base. We've got a town build, a city build. And you know what? We might be able to win this turn. How deep into the tank do I want to go? Because you'll notice there's only 1 building right now. They're going to build a town this turn and a city this turn. If we look at our fear deck, we are 1 fear away from Terror 2, which is the point where you win for there being no buildings. So, can we do it? Actually, we might not quite be able to do it unless our fear card helps us. But we're going to get awfully close to winning. This Explorer is going to clear itself in the Ravage. This Explorer is not going to do anything, probably. So, we could push to this reclaim 1 spot. Interestingly, that might be a way of winning, because we do have Sudden Ambush in hand. I'm always moaning about Sudden Ambush. I mean, it's got good art. And it's just mainly because it's expensive and I'm, you know, parsimonious. But we can gather this Dahan into here to prevent this build. And then if we can somehow destroy this explorer, this town and the city they're going to build this turn, then we might be able to just do it. Wait a second. If we gain 4 energy here and reclaim our manifest, that's going to leave us with, we're going to have 1 air, 2 air, 3 air. We can gather 3 Dahan in with 3 presents. That's 9 damage. I think we can do this. We can prevent this build in the fast phase. They're going to build here. Yeah, I think it works. I hope it works. So we're going to reveal this reclaim 1 spot. And this is a kind of a bonus presence. So I tend to put it in the place I'm thinking of hitting with manifest generally. I mean, in this case, it should be entirely unnecessary. So we'll reclaim our manifest, and we'll play both of these. So we've got Gather the Warriors because of that animal element. We've got 3 Gather. So this is going to happen in the fast phase, which is, yeah, I think it works. I think it all adds up. So we bring this in here. Do we bring the presents? I don't think we bring the presents. So we don't want to. We don't want to, all right? Each player chooses a different land with Dahan. Invaders take 1 damage there. 1 damage, wow. It's a lot of damage. So this Explorer is going to die anyway, but... And now we are into the build. So they build their city here, and they have an Explorer. So no, they don't get to go into that mountain because we've cleared the inland. And now we should have the win. So... have any questions about Spirit Island or videos you want me to make, any of that kind of thing, feel free to put them in the comments. I read everything and I respond to everything to my knowledge. If I've missed your comment, not intentional. So here we go. And now we are simultaneously revealing Terra 2 and clearing the last buildings on the map. I hope that was helpful. This is the spirit that boggles my mind the most of all the base game ones. It's a very satisfying puzzle, but I think the spatial element is something that just I find challenging. Anyway, like the video if you like the video, and subscribe for more Spirit Island content. Trying to release multiple videos a week, but what that's going to be, I'm trying to make more beginner friendly content. So if you are a newer player and you're wondering, hey, how does this work? What's a good, feel free. And they often take a while for me to work out what would be a useful thing to say, or what I think would be a useful thing to say. So you won't get an instant video, but you will get it soon. Trademark.